What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we have some breaking news from the UFC. Just a few minutes ago, we now have a main event for UFC Fight Night Tampa to end off the year December 14th. We have Ian Garry versus Joaquin Buckley, who is coming off of that knockout of Stephen Thompson, which we saw at UFC 307. Now, this fight is interesting to me in multiple different ways, mostly because I don't know what's going to happen now at 310. Does this officially mean Shavkat's out of the picture? Is he going to be waiting for that title fight? Or is he going to be fighting someone in the meantime? I don't know. I'm assuming he's going to be waiting because it wouldn't really make much sense to have one of these guys step up and fight Shavkat for the main event. That's not a main event fight, in my opinion. Like Ian Garry versus Shavkat for it. I don't even know if there's a point in having an interim belt. I don't know how long Bilal is going to be out. I wouldn't imagine too long, like a year or anything. Maybe like a few months, if that. But it seems like he said he's going to have to take 6 weeks off from training, which would make sense that he wouldn't be able to compete in December, but move that towards the start of next year, which I'm assuming Shavkat's going to be waiting for. So all this talk about someone stepping in to fight for that replacement spot, I guess we're going to cancel that fight and move it back. And it seems like we're going to have Pereira coming in and defending his belt against Ankalaev. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see that. At this point, both of those guys do want that fight. But from Ian Garry's perspective, I don't really understand this, right? You're number 7 right now in the rankings. I think you're one fight away from getting that next title opportunity. There's a lot of guys towards the top that I would assume that he would fight. Like, you could have fought anyone between Leon Edwards, Usman, not Shavkat, but JDM, Sean Brady, Colby Covington. I know a lot of us have been waiting for that Colby Covington matchup because both of those guys have been wanting to fight each other, but it seems like Colby doesn't want to fight him. But it's interesting, right? Buckley just came out, obviously coming off of that win against Stephen Thompson at 307. And now he's getting this opportunity to make his way up the rankings. But I just don't see at this moment any way that Buckley can go out here and win this fight, right? I think Ian Garry's a lot better. I know there's a lot of hate on Ian Garry, but, I mean, I still like him as a prospect, as a fighter. It is a very tough division right now, but I do think he has a pretty good skill set. I know some people were upset about the last fight, the fight against MVP, saying that was a little boring. But, he's a good fighter at the end of the day, in my opinion, whether the hate's there or not. I do think that he could be a future, at least contender for a belt. I think he could work his way up and get a championship fight. Do I think he could beat a guy like Shavkat or Bilal right now? I don't know. That would be kind of close. He is a contender, though, in my opinion. Definitely. I think he's moved past the point of a prospect. I think he is a true contender right now. And that's why I'm confused, because I don't know how much this win really moves him up the rankings, if at all. Right? Like, this beating number 9 Buckley doesn't get you the next championship fight, especially if we see Kamaru Usman versus Jack Della Maddalena at UFC. Would that be 312? The one that if you haven't seen yet, I did match make for the February card in Australia. I believe it is 312. If those guys fight, right? Shavkat versus Bilal happens. The winner of Usman versus JDM is the next contender for the belt, in my opinion. So that's why I'm a little confused, because Ian Garry goes in here and goes against Buckley. Maybe the winner of this goes against the loser of Usman versus JDM. But I still think Ian Garry, just one fight away, if he went and fought one of those top guys, would be able to get a championship fight. Right? Maybe you go out there and try to fight a guy like Leon Edwards. I don't think any of us know what's going to happen next for Leon Edwards, because there's been a lot of talk about what he could do, but I feel like himself, he's been very quiet recently, so I don't know. It's been a little weird. Who knows? Maybe he's just going to be stuck up there in that number 1 spot for a while, and I'm sure he'll get booted out eventually at some point. Who knows? Maybe they'll even just throw Shavkat at number 1 when he actually ends up fighting Bilal. But either way, right? JDM versus Usman seems like that's kind of called out. That seems like that's going to be the next fight. So why doesn't Garry go for Leon Edwards, Sean Brady, Colby Covington, any of those 3 guys? I don't know. It is a little interesting for me for him to take this fight. Besides that, though, this card does look pretty all right. We do get to see Mackenzie Dern and Tracy Cortez both on this card as well. Some other decent fights. Manel Cape versus Bruno Silva. I'm sure they're going to add another fight on here because right now, not the greatest card of all time. I do think they'll probably throw someone else because, as we know, there's a lot of guys that do fight around the summertime or maybe fought in September-ish that do want to get on this last card of the year. There's been a lot of guys who have been talking about that, so I'm sure they're going to throw another fight or two. Right now, it's an okay card. I do think, throw another fight on there and maybe we can have a good fight night to end the year off, which they usually do. The last card of the year, even if it's a fight night or a pay-per-view, usually it is a fight night, though, I feel like. They always throw a banger out there. They are going on the road as well, so it's not an Apex card where you can just get away with putting fights on that no one cares about. I think they actually will go out there and probably get another big-name fight on here, in my opinion, as well. And let me know what you guys think. Maybe it's just confusing for me. I do think it's going to be a good fight. Like, I'm not saying Ian Garry's going to go out there and absolutely just murder him in the first round. Buckley has proven that he can be tough recently. I am interested to see who's going to be wearing purple, as we see right here in this comment, and also both of them obviously wearing the purple shorts in this picture. But should be an interesting matchup. I don't know where the winner goes. I think Buckley has more to win, obviously, in this than Garry. Maybe it's just a little tune-up fight for Garry, but Gary's going out there and proving that he wants to fight. So, hey, good for him. He's willing to take a fight, even if it's a guy lower in the rankings. He's not just going to be sitting around waiting for another opportunity to come. So, good for him. Hopefully we get another fight on here. Let me know who you guys think wins this fight and what you think of this matchmaking in general, and I'll see you guys in the next one.